He says, my calculation is what we really need is $145,000, and that's what you got, folks, $145,000. This is the guy that explained it this morning. So I can be given to long speeches, but not this morning. I know I have to talk a little later, and I'll talk a little later. But I think what you need to know is you've got somebody here who delivered for you. Not just delivered the dollars, but delivered the reasons and understanding that I needed. And we stretched a little to make that. We want to be in hope, and we want to stop it. Of course, there's lots of play on words here for hope, right? Yeah, hopeful and all that. I was sort of hoping that Dan Flowers would volunteer a little money this morning. And, you know, he talked about it, and I think what we really need from Dan is the professional side of his department paying close attention to this, making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, that we at Amtrak and we at Union Pacific and locally really get going and get this done. And I asked him for that this morning. I've known Dan since 1995. Dan, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, is the longest serving highway chief in the United States. That's not a small accomplishment. Now, the reason I know that, at one time, I was the second longest serving. But I would always be the second longest serving as long as Dan was there. And I'm glad Dan was there. And by the way, that's no small feat in New York State either, to be there that long. So my job this morning is to tell you you got your money. We're going to move forward on this. We're going to make it real, and to introduce to you a friend and somebody I depend on to really kind of crack the whip in making this happen. But more importantly, he delivers, I believe, what you need, and that's been recognized in Arkansas, Dan Flowers.
Thank you, Joe, and it's certainly a pleasure to have you and Emily here in Arkansas. When I met Joe Boardman in '95, I thought, well, this guy from New York, I don't know about him. And I got to talking to him, and he said he was an avid deer hunter. And so I know that he'll fit in here in Arkansas real well. Congressman Ross, thank you for all that you're doing for this project and all you do for transportation in Arkansas. And Senator Teague and Representative Powers, we certainly appreciate your support of the Highway and Transportation Department here in Arkansas. I have a Hope, Arkansas story also. My folks are from down in this neck of the woods, down Spring Hill, and I actually started to school here in Hope. Started first grade at Garland Elementary School. My mother took me in the school and turned me over to Miss Gines. Some of you may remember her. It took me about 30 seconds to decide I didn't like school, and I took off. And I made it out the door until Miss Gines caught up with me, and I latched on to the flagpole there in front of Garland Elementary School. And so she didn't want to hurt me, prying me off that pole. So my mother called my daddy, and he hurt me and made me turn loose of that flagpole. I drive by there every time I come down. I drove down there this morning and looked, see if that flagpole's still there. I have great affection toward it flagpole. I thought maybe Congressman Ross was going to say that he gets the money and he turns it over to Flowers and he wastes it. But he was very kind today, and I thank him. I want to mention Bill Pollard. Bill's back here. He's a train nut. You talk about trains and you'll see. But Bill has been associated with the Highway Department's efforts looking at rail development here in Arkansas, and we've sort of adopted him as one of our own. And Bill, thank you for your contribution. We appreciate it. I'll be very, very brief. We will, Joe, do what we can to assist this project, to do any of the legwork or provide any assistance, advice that we might be able to offer. Don Donaldson here in Hope certainly will be a big contributor to that. We don't want to get in your way. We just want to be of help to you, and we offer if there's any opportunity for us to provide any financial assistance. We're certainly going to do that. My first train ride was from Batesville, Arkansas, where we wound up in 1962, and I came back down here to visit some of the kin folks down Spring Hill, and I got off right here at Hope, Arkansas. So it's great to see train service reestablished here in this area of the state, and having a stop here. And Joe, thank you for your contribution to our state, and we appreciate having you and Emily here with us today. So we look forward to being a part of this project the way we possibly can, and it's certainly wonderful to be here with all of you today. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to let Miss Niecy Patterson speak next. She's from Union Pacific, and two things I didn't say. When we rode the train to Chicago, what a great experience that wound up being. And the wife and I are going to ride to San Antonio later this year, because it's a good way to travel, especially if you're not in a hurry. It's a great way to travel. But when I thought, gosh darn, I'm going to go meet this Yankee, and turned out he was a genuine good guy. And we talked about family, and we talked about church, and we talked about things, and I left with a genuine appreciation of his sincerity and his honesty and his the fact that he cared. He cared about Hope, Arkansas.